Just a quick note before getting into the video, I'm definitely not ignoring the fact that there was this huge update, and I would like to talk about it, but I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to use copyrighted footage. I mean, I'm a small YouTube channel, I'm new, I'm not exactly sure how this works. If anyone around has some knowledge about what I'm legally allowed to use for YouTube, please leave a comment below. It would be very helpful and be very appreciated, because I do have some opinions about the update and I would like to share them. Anyway, into the video. Greetings to anyone watching, I am the Cranky Villager and this is what I'd look like if I had a giant bobblehead. Well, it is no secret that I'm a bookworm. I've been reading multiple books simultaneously for years now, and in most cases I'll read a book just once and move on to the next one. But there are some books that I like to reread every once in a while to kind of get back to, and these are the books I'm going to talk about today. Watership Down. See, right off the bat, I'm starting off with a lie because I've only ever read this book once. And why? Because every time I tried to talk about this book afterwards, I'd start crying. Yes, it made me this emotional, but this is definitely a book I should go back to. Watership Down is about a group of rabbits following a premonition by one of them and escaping their about to be destroyed warren to find a new home. It might sound like a babyish story about cute little bunnies, but this book has everything. It has fascism, it has cults, it has very, very dark imagery, and it's amazing, and you should read it. Prep. A girl named Lee tries to find herself among battles for popularity in a boarding school for the rich and well-off. Lee, as the main protagonist, may not be the most likable character, but she's relatable. I love how we can still relate to her, even after being way past her age group. In fact, I have this theory that at least some of the people who didn't like this book because they didn't like Lee felt this way since Lee made them feel uncomfortably self-aware, confronting them with sides they might be less proud of. But I might just be talking out of my ass. The Virgin Sides. I like the movie, I love the book. This is a very tragic story about 5 sisters who gradually commit suicide, and about the neighborhood boys who are obsessed with him, trying to piece together why this happened. Why do I love this book so much? I guess for 2 main reasons. One, the affection the boys have for those girls is touching, even though they never really knew them, which again I think is relatable. 2, this book is written in a way that sucks you right into another era, namely the 70s, through engaging girlhood aesthetics. Pen Pal. I'm a horror lover, and this book is one of the best pieces of psychological horror I've ever encountered. If memory serves me right, this full story was born out of Dathan Orbach's Footsteps creepypasta. Without giving too much away, this story is about a man sorting through his childhood memories, both for the sake of nostalgia and to try and make sense of very strange and creepy things that kept happening to him until the frightening conclusion is reached. On one hand, I do recommend it to all horror lovers. On the other hand, people who as children have gone through trauma by the hands of adults should proceed with caution, maybe reading spoilers to check for the potential trigger points before diving into the book. Jane Eyre. The only classic I have on this list. My main reason for loving this book is that I'm fascinated by Jane Eyre herself, her upbringing, her unique noble personality, and her convoluted love story with Mr. Rochester. Obviously, if it's on this list, this means that I read this book in different eras of my life. So in times when I was in love with someone, for example, I would focus here more on the will they, won't they aspect of Jane Eyre, but at other times where I wasn't preoccupied with romantic love, I would focus much more on, well, Jane Eyre. The Exorcist. It's horror time again. The movie has always been one of my favorite horror movies of all time. As a teenager, I was absolutely obsessed with it. But it was the novel it was based on that completely sold me on the idea. The Exorcist follows the story of a cute little girl getting possessed by a demon while her atheistic mother tries to come in terms with this, and while the local priest is losing his faith. And while the movie is great, I love the book much more since it focuses on psychological and spiritual issues of faith and grief, which is why whenever a character interacts with a demon in the book, it plays complex mind games with them, which is an aspect the movie doesn't really show, and which is why I thoroughly recommend it. Memoirs of a Geisha. Now, I have to be careful with this one. When I was a lot younger and read it for the first time, I didn't notice who the author was and naively assumed this was written by a Japanese woman. Nowadays, whenever I read this, I have to take it with a grain of salt because this was written by an American man and evidently deemed romanticized stance on Japanese cultures and geishas in particular. So what I love about this book is not its level of accuracy or faithfulness of depiction, but mainly the beautiful aesthetics described in the text to stimulate the imagination, as well as, again, Sayuri's naive and desperate love for Mr. Iwamura, a love that grows from childhood into adulthood. My Sister's Keeper. Didn't really like the movie, but I read the book first and it was wonderful and with a stronger ending, so the movie didn't really stand a chance. Here we'll follow the story of Anna, a 13-year-old girl who was genetically engineered and conceived to be used as a blood and organ donor for her older sister Kate, who has cancer. Anna decides one day she'd like to be the one who determines what her body is for and who she is in general. So we have here questions of identity and self-exploring wrapped together with sisterly love. I highly recommend it. Go read it. Some of you will need tissues. Harry Potter. I'm not as obsessed and mesmerized with this franchise as I was when I was younger, but I do like to get back to Hogwarts every once in a while. So these were some of the books I keep coming back to. I never said this was a comprehensive list.